One berry, 12 times more vitamin C than an orange, and it grows in the worst soil in your yard, the spot where everything else has already failed. While most people buy vitamin C at the store, this plant could be growing in your backyard, for free, for 30 years. Genghis Khan's army carried it across 4,000 miles of frozen wasteland. No supply chains, no scurvy, just this one fruit. This is Sea Buckthorn. And in this video, I will show you the Siberian harvesting trick that turns 5 hours of painful work into 5 minutes. But first, there is one nutrient inside this berry that only 2 plants on Earth contain. Most people have never heard its name. I will also show you why this plant makes its own fertilizer, why it survives -40, and exactly how to grow it, step by step. No health claims, no miracle cures, just verified data, ancient history, and a practical guide. Let me show you what makes this berry different from everything else. Sea Buckthorn, scientific name, Hippophae rhamnoides. That Greek name means shiny horse. Ancient Greeks noticed that horses grazing on these bushes developed shinier coats, so they named the plant after the result. 2,000 years later, studies confirmed it. The fatty acids in this berry actually do improve coat condition. Here is how to identify it. A shrub or small tree, 6 to 15 feet tall. Leaves are silver green, narrow like willow. Flip one over. The underside shimmers silver. That is your first marker. The berries cluster tight along the branches. Bright orange, sometimes golden yellow. They look like tiny beads on a wire. Most exotic fruits are impossible to identify in real life. This one is different. Silver leaves, orange bead clusters. Once you see it, you never forget it. But here is nature's trade-off. Between those berries, thorns, 1 to 2 inches, sharp enough to pierce a leather glove. The more valuable the fruit, the harder nature makes you work. Those thorns kept commercial farmers away for decades. But later, I will show you the old Siberian method that solves this completely. First, let me show you what is inside this fruit, because there is one nutrient here that changes everything. Start with what you know. Vitamin C, 100 grams of orange, 53 milligrams, 100 grams of sea buckthorn, 400 to 900 milligrams, 8 to 15 times more. Same weight. These numbers come from the USDA database. Verified, not marketing. This is why Russian cosmonauts added it to their rations. Why Siberian pilots carried it on long flights. Not magic. Concentration. I am not saying this berry cures anything. I am showing you the data. What you do with it is your decision. Now, the nutrient I mentioned. The one most people have never heard of. Omega-7. Most plants give you omega-3, 6, or 9. You know those. Omega-7 is different. Only 2 common plant sources contain significant amounts. Macadamia nuts and sea buckthorn. The oil from the berry pulp is one of the richest sources of omega-7 on the planet. And the seed oil is completely different. More omega-3 and 6. One berry, 2 oils, 2 different nutritional profiles. Most superfruits are marketing with a famous name and average numbers. This one is the opposite. Almost no one knows it. But the data is exceptional. That is what is inside. But nutrition means nothing if you cannot grow it. And this is where sea buckthorn does something almost no fruit plant can do. Every gardening rule says the same thing. Improve your soil, add compost, add amendments. With this plant, that advice is wrong. Sea buckthorn does not want rich garden soil. It wants sand, gravel, rocky slopes, poor drainage, that useless corner of your yard, the one where nothing grows. the spot you stopped trying with years ago. This plant was designed for that exact place. Why? Because sea buckthorn fixes its own nitrogen. Like beans, it pulls nitrogen from the air and feeds itself. Planted in bad soil this year. Next year, that soil is better, but the cold tolerance is what sets it apart. Citrus dies at 28 degrees. Peach buds freeze at -10. Sea buckthorn survives -40. That is documented. USDA Zones 3 through 8. Permaculture gardeners in Minnesota, Montana, and Maine have grown this quietly for years. In cold climate forums, they call it the set it and forget it berry. One critical detail before you buy. Sea buckthorn has separate male and female plants. Only females fruit. But females need a male nearby for pollination. One male for every 6 to 8 females. Wind pollinates. No bees needed. Plant only females? Beautiful green bush. Zero fruit. Nitrogen fixing. Extreme cold tolerance. Thrives in bad soil. But you need both sexes. Now let me show you why armies trusted this plant with their lives. The year is 1220. You are riding with the Mongol army across Central Asia. No vegetables for weeks. No fruit trees for hundreds of miles. Just dried meat and mare's milk. The next city is 500 miles away. Scurvy killed more sailors than battles throughout history. But the Mongol cavalry rode for years without it. Historical accounts suggest they carried dried sea buckthorn, fed it to their horses too. Remember that Greek name? Shiny horse. The Mongols knew. Vitamin C that survives drying. Calories from natural oil. Light enough for a saddlebag. Grows wild across Mongolia, Siberia, the Himalayas. Harvest, dry, ride. A supply chain of one person. Tibet used this plant for 1,000 years. Russia calls it Siberian pineapple. China now grows it commercially at massive scale. This is not a forgotten plant. This is a plant the West never noticed. The knowledge was always there. Until now. The Mongols had no nurseries, no YouTube tutorials. But you do. So let me translate their ancient knowledge into 4 simple steps. And a warning about the last one. 4 steps. The last one is where most people quit. Do not be most people. I have read the university extension guides. Talk to nursery growers. Here's what actually works. Step 1. Buy both male and female plants. You cannot tell them apart until flowering. Buy them labeled. Female varieties. Harvest Moon, Star of Altai, Orange Energy, males. Lord or pole mix. 1 male, 6 to 8 females. That is your starter orchard. Step 2. Choose the worst spot in your yard. Seriously. That sandy corner. That rocky slope. That thin soil where tomatoes fail every year. Full sun, at least 6 hours. Space plants 6 to 10 feet apart. They spread through root suckers. Free plants if you want them. Containable if you do not. Step 3. Plant in early spring or fall. Dig a hole twice the root ball width. Do not add compost. Do not add fertilizer. Everything you learned about soil improvement works against you here. This plant fixes its own nitrogen. Rich soil grows leaves, not fruit. Water once deeply. Then mostly ignore it. Step 4. Wait. Year 1. Roots establish. Year 2. Maybe a few berries. Year 3. Real harvest begins. Full production. Years 4 through 6. This is where people quit. We want instant results. Same-day delivery. Overnight success. Waiting 3 years feels impossible. But consider what you are getting. A healthy bush produces for 25 to 30 years. 3 decades of harvest. From 1 afternoon of planting. Patience now. Independence later. Planting is easy. Now comes the part that stops everyone. The thorns. There is a Siberian method that changes everything. This trick alone is worth the entire video. Hand harvesting Sea Buckthorn is brutal. Each berry is pea-sized, soft, bursts easily, surrounded by thorns that find every gap in your gloves. If you have ever picked berries off a thorny bush, you know. 15 minutes in, hands scratched, arms bleeding, bucket barely quarter full. Asking yourself if this is worth it. Hand harvesting takes 5 hours, leaves your arms looking like you fought a cat and lost. The obvious fix is working slower, being more careful. That is also the worst solution. Commercial farms shake branches over tarps. Works, but damages the plant. Here is the method that solves everything. Wait until late fall, November or December. After the first hard freeze, cut whole branches, berries still attached. Put them in your freezer overnight, or leave them outside if you are in a cold climate. The berries freeze solid. Shake the branch over a bucket, or tap it gently against the inside. The frozen berries pop right off. Clean, easy, no blood, 5 minutes, not 5 hours, hands intact. Berries already frozen for storage. Why does it work? Fresh berries have thin skins. They grip the stem. Frozen, they become rigid. The stem connection weakens. Shake. Gravity handles the rest. Siberian farmers have harvested this way for generations. Not a hack, not a trick. Physics, ancient knowledge, modern application. Now you have frozen berries. Here's what to do with them. 4 options, easy to advanced. Option 1, juice. Blend with water, strain, add honey. Warning, this is tart. Sour orange meets lemon. Your face will know. Option 2, jam or syrup. Cook, strain seeds, sweeten, preserve. Option 3, dry them, dehydrator tray. Keep 6 months. This is closest to how the Mongol warriors carried them. Option 4, keep them frozen. They last a year. Throw directly into smoothies. For oil, press the pulp for orange oil, high in omega-7. Press seeds for lighter oil, omega-3 and 6. Or eat the whole berry and get both. Quick safety note. Sea buckthorn is recognized as safe as food. If you are pregnant, nursing, or on blood thinners, check with your doctor before adding large amounts. Standard advice for any concentrated food. Now you know how to grow it, harvest it, and use it. Let me bring this full circle. 800 years ago, warriors rode across frozen steppes carrying these berries. No lab tests, no databases, no nutrition labels. They knew it worked. That was enough. And now, you know too. 12 times more vitamin C than an orange. Omega-7 from one of only 2 plant sources. A harvest method that turns 5 hours into 5 minutes. That knowledge just transferred. Across 8 centuries. To you, most people will scroll past this and forget it by tomorrow. But some of you are different. Some of you are already looking at that neglected corner differently. You stopped seeing a problem. You started seeing 30 years of harvests. That shift. From limitation to possibility. That is what this channel is about. The Mongols passed this knowledge rider to rider. Generation to generation. No internet, no videos. Just trust and experience. Now it is in your hands. What you do with it is your choice. That is everything you need to know. If you want to leave now and start researching nurseries, go, seriously. But if you want the source list and next week's preview, stay for 45 more seconds. Nursery links, variety recommendations, research citations. Everything is pinned in the comments. Drop your USDA zone below. I want to know where you are watching from. If you want more forgotten crops, plants the modern food system left behind, I release one every week. Subscribe. Join the archive. If you watched my nitrogen fixing video, you already know why this plant improves soil, This is the third forgotten crop in a row with that ability. Not a coincidence. Next week, a root vegetable native to America. The Wampanoag tribe grew it for centuries before Europeans arrived. Some historians believe it saved the Plymouth colonists from starving. Then we replaced it with the potato and erased it from memory. 3 times the protein of a potato, fixes its own nitrogen like sea buckthorn, and almost no one in America grows it anymore. For 400 years, this plant has been waiting underground, ready to come back. The archive continues. See you next week.